I don't have to do a game. Oh.
You get time.
This game recap. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that out loud?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Tiger Minor League Report podcast. As the Pistons right now are playing 42-38 here with 5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. I'm Rogelio, Chris Brown, and Brandon should be along here shortly as the Tigers head to Flushing to take on the Mets, starting a 3-game series starting tomorrow before coming home to play the Blue Jays this weekend. That'll be there Friday, hopefully Saturday as well, but it'll be nice to get out to the ballpark. Although the weather, again, in Michigan, with the frost advisory, it just kind of gets old, and I feel like an old person complaining about it. But quite frankly, it's at that point where I'm just kind of over it. Because right now it should be 70 degrees at least, 60, 70, 65 at least. But it is what it is. So we don't want to be old men complaining about the weather. Isn't that right, Chris?
I want to complain about the weather.
You want to complain about the weather? Brandon,
No,
do you want to complain about the weather, Brandon?
I mean, just a little bit.
Okay. I was gonna say, I know it's gonna hurt your golf. It's hurting your golf chance to play golf, right?
No, we'll play when it's like 45, 50 if we have to. It's not that big of a factor, but yeah, I mean, like it's all nice out. You're like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna play some golf today. No, it's like 50 and windy.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It's May, bitches. Let's go.
Yeah, it's May. Yeah, exactly. It's May. That's what I'm saying. It's still And look, Matt's running his furnace. I'm running my furnace, man. That's what I'm saying. Like it's
that's outrageous.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the case, man. Look, I want my furnace off at this point. That's what I want.
I accidentally slept with my window open the other night and woke up freezing. I was like, whoops.
Yeah,
that's funny. I kind of did the same thing, and I like tweaked my neck. So yeah, I've been like working the neck out all day. Like, oh, that was great. Yeah, I'm getting old. Woke up and had injured myself while sleeping. So not a great sign.
Yeah, at that point in your life where that so. But plenty to get to, including Gage Workman, as it's interesting within a week of what has happened to him. The mayor to call up Derek Skubal having surgery that might put him coming back sooner than later. And then there was this whole thing about, the Tigers might be able to resign him, the chances with that and all that. So fun stories about that. And then it's been now almost 2 weeks since West Michigan last won a game. So
yeah,
it's been more than 2 weeks.
No.
Rene Rivera is not getting any better sleep than we are with the windows open.
Yeah. And he got ejected. You could see that it's getting to him. He got ejected in a game where they completely missed a strike and then gave up a 2-run single right after it.
Yeah. And it's not like they're not hitting at all or anything. I mean, they're not swinging the bats great, that's for sure. But they just keep blowing games. I don't know. They just cannot get it done in the late innings at all.
Which is more egregious, Gage or Tater?
Well, I think we've talked about this before. His father's name is Wid.
Yeah.
And his brother's name is also something unusual. I have to look it up real quick.
Yeah. I just out of curiosity, like, isn't he from like a big Mormon family in Arizona? Shouldn't they all have like biblical names or something?
I think so, yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. They went full baseball, so good for them.
Yeah, no, and look, it was a great story yesterday. He hit a home run, one more than Chase Young, as Chris texted me that yesterday.
Wow.
Look, here's the thing. Like, we're not being harsh on purpose, but we did. So I did a data dive today because Robert James was asking. I've been waiting for a long time for Workman to get called up. That is true. Like, my love for Workman, I don't want to say love, but I've admired.
I love him.
What I mean by that is just like, look, the tools were there, but the inconsistency wasn't. But then there was a stat that stood out to me today that I was looking at, and I was looking it up for Robert James because I wanted to see. He was asking what was different, why he cut out his strikeout rate so much, and I looked into it, which kind of led me down to a rabbit. I had a 45-minute call with you know what? I'm a humble brag. I had a nice 35, 45-minute humble or call today with Dan Dickerson. We talked about Gage Workman stats. So
Nice.
it was really cool. That kind of made my, because I was at work and all of a sudden somebody came in my room to ask me a question, and then I saw my phone. I'm like,
Everybody get out of here.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. And so get out of here. So the stat I was looking into is versus breaking balls in AAA last year. So he was in 137 with an OP or on base percentage of 204, strikeout rate of 52%, and 2 barrels with exit velocity just over 86. Hard hit contact 30%. This year, 324, 333, strikeout rate, whatever. It's still 47%. 3 barrels, and this is only seen 150 pitches. Mm-hmm. So he's seen less pitches, and the hard hit contact up to 50%, and his exit velocity is at 94.1 on breaking balls. But the fastballs was something insane. Like, he's hitting like 535 against fastballs this year or something. Yeah, I mean, and he's always hit fastballs. Yeah, I wrote about this last night too. There's an article up on Bless You Boys if people want some of that. But yeah, it's there's some sign of like breaking ball improvement. So that's good. And he's always hit right-handed pitching well. So if you cut out lefties and he just has to hit, right-handed pitching, he's still probably going to strike out, 28 to 32% of the time, but he might do a fair amount of damage, along the way. And that's kind of what you're hoping for. We were also, this had just never occurred to me, but what if Gage Workman became like the Parker Meadows that we had always hoped Parker Meadows would be? Because, Gage Workman doesn't play in the outfield a lot. I think he's got like 50 games total, but he's played in all 3 positions. He's got above average speed. I wouldn't mind just messing about and seeing what he can do in the outfield a little bit, because obviously that's, kind of where they need the help. He's coming up for Carpenter. He's an infielder, but he's got the chops to do a lot of different things. And his big problem defensively is that occasional just boneheaded play at third base, where he just like rushes it or shortstop, where he just overthrows something or, just clangs a ball trying to do too much. He might be all right out there. So I'm curious, I'm reserving a whole lot of skepticism because, we all liked Gage Workman when he was like 22 and thought like, if he just quit switch hitting, maybe he'll figure it out. Last year kind of like put a damper on that, but he has cut his strikeouts down each of the last, 3 seasons. So maybe if he's just super patient and just like willing to take some called strike threes and try to force guys to throw pitches in the zone, he might have some success for a while. I think the biggest takeaway I have with Workman has been, especially down in Toledo, is that it's not been his spray chart. It's been like kind of all over the place too. It's been not like it was something like not all exactly pull heavy or anything too. The other stat that stood out too was Ben Malgeri's also hitting offspring. Wow.
You got to keep them separated.
You got to keep them separated off speed very well too. So there's been, like I said, there's a couple of things in the data, but the breaking balls for Malgeri was kind of a struggle a little bit. So that's where. And the same thing, and there was something that I was talking to Dan about was they look at that stuff, look at velocity past 95 and everything, and so that's something they consider. So with Clark right now, he's only hit 135 against velocity. And also at the same time, there was another thing that I found out too, which was interesting, that even at exit velocities on grounders, they look at that and they don't frown upon it. So if they hit like 103 miles an hour, it's like, well, that's still really good, even if it's out or not, regardless. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not necessarily what you want, but I mean, I guess if you're hitting the ball hard, in general, that's a good sign. Although, we have Justice Bigby and several other examples of guys who hit a lot of hard ground balls, but it's just, it's just hard to make that work at the major league level unless you're fast and play great defense and, do a bunch of other things.
Yeah, and especially in this series, let's talk about the Kansas City series. That was the Royals were in each game. It was a game. All 3 games, Tigers, even with Madden with the home run, pitched well, except for Wolf Smith. But I'm saying, as far as like competitive baseball went, the Tigers did play competitive, but just the pitching, the injuries were all caught up. But the defense has been amplified, getting louder and louder. Over and over, you see them near the bottom of every statistical category. And even I can't say that word that it's on Baseball Reference. The record should be, it starts with the P, I can never say it right.
Pythagorean.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So the Tigers should be right now, I believe should be, pull it up here real quick. Should be 21-20.
Yeah.
So
we've scored more runs than Cleveland has, and we've given up the same amount, if I recall. I might have checked that before the end of last night's game, but one of the reasons people think Cleveland is clutch and why clutch gets thrown around, or they play small ball and they do these little things no, they just have a really good bullpen, guys. That's all it is. The Tigers come back in a lot of games too, and then the bullpen gives up another 2 runs. A bullpen makes up for a lot, and we saw that the other night. They gave up 1. Drew Anderson gave up the lead yesterday. Unfortunately, Workman was there to recapture said lead. They didn't give up many runs overall. Drew Anderson having a bad outing is not the end of the world, but you just don't really trust anybody. It was nice to see Kenley look good and have his command last night. Maybe the 6 days off kind of helped out the groin problem he's been dealing with since, I guess mid-April. If he can command, the cutter and doesn't get too cute, trying to throw sinkers and sliders to everybody when he doesn't really need to, he probably will be fine. But Kyle Finnegan's been wild. Who else do you really have to lean on? So Holton's been okay, here and there, but still not Tyler Holton of 2 years ago. Meanwhile, the Will Vest news doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be trending more toward the other thing. So we'll see.
He had a cortisone shot, right?
Yeah.
Herder has been pretty good, pretty reliable, but it is you go to a series with 2 bullpen chaos starts because you have to, and it's tough to win. And you see it, we've talked about all the time. For that strategy to work, everybody has to do their job, and when one person doesn't, it screws everything up. They were able to come back on Sunday, so that was nice to get 1 win out of that. It was a tough week. It just kind of feels like you ever been driving down the freeway and see a bug on your car that's just holding on for your life. It feels like what the Tigers are. They're going 75 down the freeway, and
the mantis clinging to your windshield wiper. Yeah,
just holding on for dear life until they get to a stop somewhere. But I don't know. The offense is still. They got shut out in one of those games, didn't they? Or maybe I'm thinking.
Was it Saturday or Saturday?
I don't know.
It did, but yesterday they picked up an add-on run yesterday, and Riley Green he's playing really well, so that helps. We've seen some other guys kind of come back down to earth. Colt Keith isn't doing much of anything anymore. I don't know. It's been a tough stretch, but it is nice to have these guys come up and give you unexpected contributions. And I was joking about it, but I'm serious. Workman has already done more than Young has. Young had the walk-off hit in the Little League game a couple years ago. That was pretty awesome. But you need a guy like that to hit for power because he doesn't offer a whole lot else. And Workman offers that power plus speed, potential defense utility and arm strength, all that other stuff. So he should get some chances to play while Carpenter is on the IL.
Yep, I have to agree. Yeah, they didn't get shut out, but they scored 1 on Saturday, 3 on Friday. It hasn't been that good. You kind of hope that what's happening though is they sort of have digested okay, all these guys are hurt. This is the way it is. Nobody's coming to help us. They still have enough talent on the team to play 500-ish ball, and they should. So hopefully they dig down and just realize we're the guys now. It's us. Most of this team has been here for a couple of years now. Even the guys who are new, they all played together in the minors. They know each other. This is the group. There's no superstar veteran that's going to come in here and bail them out. So they just got to play like dogs through May and be a lot cleaner defensively and not give outs and runs away. And if they can pull it together enough to do that, they might be fine. And then it's just a question of do they get enough help back for it to matter? That's the other question, because we don't, the Tigers don't give out a whole lot of information, that's for sure. And it's really hard to gauge how hurt Casey Mize is. Is Casey Mize going to be back in a week? Is Casey Mize out for another month from now? I have literally no idea. Couldn't tell you. They reported Zach McKinstry is having inflammation of the abdominal and hip, And it turns out like he tore the muscle off his bone a little bit. It's like it's a bit different. Like I guess there was probably inflammation, but that wasn't the root cause, kids. So yeah, I don't know. It's just hard to know, like what they've got to offer and when they're going to get guys back. We know Verlander's not going to be back till June, and we know Melton's not going to be back till the end of the month, and they've got like 4 or 5 series where before they can really expect anybody of substance coming back to help them.
Yeah. Right now they've got like 5-6 guys getting regular playing time who have a WRC plus under 80.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Not ideal. Yep. Riley's been good. You figure Kevin will perk back up. They're pitching him different and trying all these different things. He'll adjust back, but yeah, at the moment there's not a whole lot going on. Once Stingler and Keith cooled off from their hot stretch in April, it's there's not a lot happening. Carpenter was pretty bad this year so far. I think his WRC plus is like 105, so it's not like he's completely absent because he will hit you a home run every once in a while. But he and Torkelson haven't really been big factors except for like little bursts here and there. So yeah, they're gonna have to get real scrappy somehow.
Especially when I think Tiger Chopwell tweeted this out. 65 players across all the systems are injured right now. Tigers have like 16 or 17. It is. Yep. It was something, I think, was it Chris, 6 outfielders in West Michigan, something like that?
Yeah, 6 different players who play outfield in West Michigan are hurt. You've got, we'll start with Woody Hedin, who's kind of an infielder outfielder, but he can't play outfield. Patrick Lee's hurt. Stephen Hrustich, I think, is out for the year. One of the guys they brought in to replace him, Nolan McCarthy, is hurt. Who else am I missing? There are a couple more. And Seth Stevenson is hurt in Erie. So all these different outfielders are hurt. So yeah, it's tough. It's none of these guys are necessarily superstars down there, but it just becomes very difficult. That they've signed like 4 indie ball outfielders this year because they need the bodies, and it's just one of those strange things now where with the draft only being 20 rounds long, you don't have these extra guys lying around anymore. So you gotta go sign them, and then you let them go later.
Yeah. It's like that indie ball career now of like getting called up to play, high A ball in West Michigan for a month, and then you go right back to indie ball. But I guess that's better than the alternative. But yeah, it hasn't been going well down there. It's not really that like germane to the Tigers and like the long-term future, and it's not big time prospects that we're talking about, but nobody likes to lose, and that's not how you necessarily want your teams to be developing the guys who are there to get better. You want them around guys who know what they're doing and are experienced. That's typically the play for having all these older veteran position players around. And it's not working. It's not working at all.
Yeah, for the most part, these are injuries. Like the Tigers' injuries are obviously the most important, but there are like a handful. I don't think Briseño would have ever come into play this year, but he's one of their top prospects. Same with Montilla. But guys like Andrew Sears and Jake Miller theoretically could have come up and helped in a certainly Jake Miller because he's on the 40 man. But yeah, just a number of bodies. It's like a Civil War battlefield out there, and they're just triage, you get the gangrene, and all that tough stuff. And I will say that Gage Workman's brother's name is Bittner. Bitner.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
this extra thing is baffling. I
was gonna say the last time we were on air, he was he was on the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was back on the team within a week.
Yeah, he was up, and then he was DFA'd, and then he was re-signed to a major league deal and brought back. Whatever. It's whatever. But like they have Paul DeJong. Like Paul DeJong can hit at least. I don't get it. He's right-handed as well.
I guess they're hoping for somebody to catch the ball. But we've seen that Short hasn't done necessarily a great job of doing that either. But yeah, we were looking at that as like a sign. Well, boy, Workman's never going to get a chance because instead of picking Gage Workman, they're like Zach Short. But then another person got hurt, and they're like, all right, whatever. So I feel like there's 1 or 2 people in the organization that's like super happy that Workman got up there and hit a home run right away, because it was like they've probably been pushing for it forever and ever, and other people are like, no, we worried about this. He's this and that, and he's on the 40 now, so let him play.
Mm-hmm.
He was top 3 in all. He was the entire reason why Toledo's offense has come alive. He was hitting for power, hitting for average, and when the Mudheads bats came, kind of slowed down a little bit. Him and Mel Jerry have been the only ones doing anything. I'm sorry, Chris or Brandon. Go ahead.
No, yeah. I mean, you're totally right. Like, I mean, he's had a pretty good year, and I mean, why not use him? I mean, we've talked about Jace Young quite a bit, but there's just no utility to a guy like that unless he's absolutely raking, and he's in the same spot Justin Henry Malloy was in, but Jace Young isn't even Scott Harris guy, and of course Malloy didn't last with the Braves and got DFA'd today as well. So, I mean, they could end up just like bringing him back, and I'll tell you, like, that's not a good sign when you're when guys who are on your 40-man, leave and then get picked up elsewhere and can't stick, anywhere else. Maybe somebody else will pick up J-Head. I don't know what's going to happen there.
He cleared waivers.
Did he? Okay.
He cleared waivers with the Rays. He's back in the minors with them. So yeah, there was nobody else thought of him as being a worthy pickup. And I mean, I think that it's probably not that long before we see something similar with Jace Young. I'm sure that there are people in the org who really believe in him too, but it's like, yeah, if you can't contribute right now, then what use are you of the to the big league team?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing when your team is this decimated. If somebody can't help you now, like what are they even doing on the 40-man? There is always that question, and and I don't know. We've talked a bunch about kind of Scott Harris and sort of the inertia sometimes of this roster where guys like McKinstry and Bierling are just like guaranteed spots. They're just considered like regular, parts of this team 4 years after they acquired them. And, they're guys who like do a bunch of things okay, but none of them does anything well to where it gives you like a strength in any respect. It's not like Zach Short is or Zach McKinstry is a genius defensive infielder. You'd almost rather have a guy like that than a guy who's just okay and you can just plug in. And it's the same with Bierling. Like he's all right in the outfield. He can play center field. It's not bad. He's not good out there either, but you're not hurt by it. And he'll hit decently, but the complementary parts aren't really there for a roster that likes to platoon and likes to mix and match and have different options. It's pretty much just kind of a mishmash of right left guys who don't really do anything well. Like you'd almost rather have like, Harold Castro and then like, a genius, outfielder who can't hit at all, just to like give them some actual balance rather than just like all these guys are just kind of 90 WRC guys who are slightly below average defensively everywhere. It's not ideal.
I do want to bring up what Charlie said earlier. He said, I'm not a Scott Harris hater, but Cleveland acquiring Patrick Bailey from San Francisco shows you can make a trade and improve your team. He has a shortcoming in that area. And so I wanted to, first and foremost, by the way, if you do want to make donations to the website, please do so. There is a link in our show description. Just like I said, we're trying to get out to some games soon. It's been just crazy schedule-wise. But and also
the weather.
Yeah, and the weather. I'm not going to lie. The weather is playing a big factor. But June – late this month in June and July will be hitting it pretty hard. But anyway, I like that trade. I know offensively he has his shortcomings, but Cleveland addressed the catching their need and they sent the tugboat back to San Francisco. And then the Giants, I guess, are going to be waving the white flag and start selling off pieces sooner or later, I guess. Although that's according to Bob Nightingale, but who knows how legit that is. But either way, I thought that was a smart move by Cleveland to address their defense because that's the way they tend to do things. It might not make a lot of sense at the time, but
they gave up a pretty good amount to get him. It's like
a first round pick
and and money and the bonus pool money. So they pursued him. And I mean, I think Buster Posey is kind of a disaster out there. So like the Giants are, and especially with Harris's history out there, the Giants are not a bad team to be kind of scouting for help. I don't know that they're going to go like instant fire sale. They just do really weird stuff out there. Like they decided they want this shortstop, in the draft, and they're gonna like pay whatever it takes to get him. And that's like their, I don't know. It's really, really kind of a bizarre. I'm not even sure if I'd call it old school. I don't know what it is type of strategy where it's just like we want to get this guy, and then we want that guy, but no one can really kind of put the pieces together as to why. I think one thing about the Patrick Bailey thing though is that we all kind of wondered if framing would be devalued. And not only is framing, I don't think, being devalued, the guys who are good framers are good at challenging, and challenging is being, upvalued. So it is kind of interesting to see Cleveland, who is very, very good at run prevention, and that's the basis for everything they do. really value that and go after him and get him. Because it's not like he's going to do much for him with the bat. But if you put a good defense out there and you have a solid pitching staff and you have two catchers who, frame well and can use the challenge system better than most, that certainly helps you. So it was an interesting trade for sure.
It's odd because if you look by like the metrics, Cleveland actually isn't an above average defensive team right now. This almost feels to me like the Giants were reached out to Cleveland. I just, it's hard for me to think that anybody would just randomly go, let's go get Patrick Bailey. Like, I mean, maybe Cleveland would. They have Austin Hedges already.
Austin Hedges is good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Austin Hedges is a great defender. He can't, hit unless he's facing Tarek Skubal for a reason. So it almost feels like the Giants were just looking around for somebody to offload Patrick Bailey to for whatever reason. But this, I mean, I think I concur that maybe Buster Posey doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And they have, these giant contracts that they want to get rid of. And it's like, okay, well, who's going to take Devers right now?
Yeah.
Nobody. Who's going to take Adames? Maybe somebody, but probably not. You got Matt Chapman. And then who else? There's another big contract out there that they have.
Is there a pitcher?
Logan Webb.
They have Webb on a pretty reasonable deal. Now, if they want to get anything in return, he's the guy you trade. I think they have Robbie Ray too.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I totally forgot Robbie Ray was even in San Francisco. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much going on out there, that's for sure. But those contracts, most of those contracts, like they'd have to eat like half of it, to even get a call, I would assume.
Yeah. So it's a tough situation they have there, and I kept thinking that like, hey, maybe they'll go all in on Skubal in the offseason, but
no. I mean, in looking at, I watched
don't do it, Tarek.
no, I was gonna say, in watching the Dodgers and Braves this weekend, I watched quite a bit of that series, and maybe San Francisco looked at those two teams and were like, yeah, we're good. We're not going anywhere.
Impressive statement by the Braves.
Yeah, they took 2 out of 3 after losing Friday night. Came back Saturday and Sunday. And Matt Olson is on a man on a mission. I mean, Matt Olson is just – I mean, we saw him terrorize the Tigers, and he had no problem terrorizing the Dodgers. But the Braves, even without, like, all their injuries on their staff, just take a look at it and keep on ticking. And, I agree with you, Chris. They made a big statement this weekend. So maybe that's what the Giants see right now. They're just like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah. Everybody else has been wondering that, so. I guess they do have they have a AAA catcher that they think is good behind the plate, and they're kind of like moving on to like, okay, well, we want to try to develop that guy. Oh, somebody mentioned Jung Ho Kang. So I guess they've got him as well, but Jung
Ho Lee's making $23 million a year. I mean, they've got some big contracts there. They brought up Bryce Eldridge to play first base for him. He's got a ton of power, but he's probably going to strike out at a 40% clip and head back to AAA. But I don't know. It's a strange situation there. I don't know if there's a good fit for the Tigers. But I mean, I think that's the central point. We kind of got sidetracked there is that yes, Scott Harris at some point is going to need to make some impactful trades. So far, the most impactful trades are Zach McKinstry and Matt Drilling, like we talked about, right? Like that's about it.
His best trade value for value is for Liam Hicks. Let Liam Hicks
let him go.
I mean, there has to be something. Like we've talked a lot about, relentlessly, even about like, guys like Anderson and Hao-Yu Lee and Jace Young and Jahan, and just like having these guys who don't really fit into like a future plan, at least not all of them, and not being able to like ride a hot streak and trade any of those guys for anything. It's not easy. Like, it's not like anybody's going to give you, an elite reliever for, Max Anderson or Hao-Yu Lee, but if you strike at the right times and find undervalued, talent on teams and can make those deals, good GMs manage to make that happen sometimes. And Scott Harris hasn't found any pitching, really at all. And that's the biggest problem. Like, I just think that just comes back to everything is that there's, we're still waiting on like Bo Brisky to come back, maybe Tyler Madison puts together, but they don't have that like pair of like hard throwing relief prospects where if they start to command the ball, all of a sudden you've got a really good reliever. They haven't had that in, this is going on year 4, and he just can't seem to find anybody who's, on the cusp of a breakout or that they can work with. Like they traded for Eric Silva. Eric Silva throws like 91 with a solid breaking ball. Now, like the guys they've picked up haven't really done anything at all. So yeah, it's pretty bleak. And then obviously we've talked about the injuries in the A-ball levels a ton. And we'll get to who's doing well down there later on here. But yeah, I mean, there's, the last 3 years hasn't seen really anybody advance except for Sears and Miller. And, they're out, and we don't really know what kind of timetable there is. Troy Melton was an Avila guy. He's looked good. Looks like Troy Melton is tracking to be back and help them out, but they might need him in the rotation. Whereas I was like, we really need Troy Melton in the bullpen, but that might not be possible the way things are going.
By the way, I did get a rough update on Trey Cruz that he's recovering well and will be back soon, but I still don't know exactly what the injury is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, he's ahead of his recovery time, but he's down in Lakeland right now. And Brisky, didn't Brisky pitch in Lakeland?
He pitched in Lakeland last week, yeah. Brisky, Seabold, and Melton all pitched in Lakeland last week, so I would assume Seabold's probably the one that's going to come up first. But then we'll see with the other two. I mean, Melton
he wasn't out. Yeah. Yeah, Seabold wasn't out very long, so maybe the timetable is short. Brisky's velocity was pretty good though. He was 95, 96. So
is he on the 60-day as well?
That's a good question.
I think he is, so he may have.
Yeah, I think so too. So he probably can't come back till the end of the month either.
He's on the 60. Yeah, so
okay, yep.
I just saw that the Mets are calling up AJ Ewing, so he'll be making his major league debut against the Tigers. He's a fun player. He's kind of like Max Clark, what you want Max Clark to be, like really lots of extra base hits, lots of speed, good defense in center field.
Really good defense. I think we saw him last year rob a couple guys in Erie. Was he the one that made that really good catch?
That was a different player in left field. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, we saw Ewing as well. Like he's a good player. So
yeah. And Deadly Ninja Bees makes a good point there. Like it's a pitch to contact, staff with a poor defense. So it's just not, constructed the way you would want things to be. And if Parker Meadows had hit, he'd be in center field, and then you have a better defensive outfield overall. I don't worry that much about the infield. I'm much more concerned with preventing extra base hits myself. And I don't think, McGonigal's been fine at shortstop. Torres is okay enough at second base and stable. I think Torkelson is pretty undervalued by the defensive metrics because they don't seem to take into account anything that first basemen do that is different than other infielders. They kind of just seem to take into account, how you field ground balls. And admittedly, he's not great at that, but he's perfectly fine at first base. Like I feel pretty comfortable. Like I think if we tried throwing Colt Keith over there, or you played Jace Young there a whole bunch, you'd definitely see a noticeable, decline in success rate. So, this isn't the roster they intended to have, is all I'm saying. But yeah, it's the inability to find a whole bunch of swing and miss, and the fact that they just don't really have that many complementary pieces. They just sort of have overlapping ones on the bench who are now playing full time. Although all those things are not great. I don't know if you can prepare for 14 guys being on the injured list, but they're not in a great position to overcome that very easily, at least for the next few weeks. Yeah, they could use some Ron Washington.
Yeah, no, but it's a even look, and we've seen Lee have some good moments, and then there's some moments where like, oh man, damn it.
Yeah, he has like the ability.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was good to lump him in there with Young and Anderson and these guys that like. I think for now he probably still has some trade value because another team that maybe is not competing says, okay, we can give this guy some time and see what he can do. He clearly needs more time in AAA, I think.
And he's only he just turned 23. He's still relatively young.
But yeah, if you just keep him as this sort of guy who's coming up and only playing against lefties at the big league level, and it's just not gonna provide you a ton of value. I mean, obviously, the triple the other day was nice. That home run he hit early in the year was nice, but he hasn't done a whole lot other than that. And Raj, the guy we were thinking of was Nick Morabito.
Oh yeah, that's what. Okay, yeah, that guy's good. Yeah.
If you don't remember, we remember distinctly because we were at the playoff game. Max Clark, the Seawolves were down 5-4. Max Clark led off the ninth inning with what looked like a double off the left field wall, and Morabito jumped up and caught it, and that was basically killed what would have been a rally. It was Peck lined out to right field that would have put Clark on third, and then McGonigal was up. But there you go. Morabito.
Morabito. And he made the closing speed ahead on that was.
Yeah, you can find the highlight. It's online.
Speaking of the Mets, by the way, it is weird and almost Chris and I kid you not, Brandon, we were having a talk about this last month that watch Carl Edwards Jr. become a Tiger at some point. If the Mets let him go. And I kid you not, we were talking about it because it was just like the type of veteran guy that you would see. It was with the Cubs when Harris was there, Billy Ramirez and all that. So I was like, yeah, watch him. And of course, he will probably make his Toledo debut. I don't know. Did he pitch this weekend?
No, he didn't yet. So
he'll probably pitch this week. As so
unless he suddenly gets injured as well.
yeah. Morabito at Mirabado Stadium.
Yeah,
a lot of M on M. And then Win Scott, who is another indie guy who the Tigers signed.
There were a billion transactions this week. Guys going up a level, coming down a level. I couldn't put them all in there, so I just put the ones that were sort of relevant. But a lot of movement going on. A lot of the scrambling at the big league level extends down to the minor league level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even from Joseph. Is that Joseph
Quinones. That's the guy they got from Philadelphia for Matt Manning.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, wasn't it? I think Eddie Bajek was talking about that on Twitter today. That they like kind of assigned him. Well, I can't remember the sequence, but they assigned him to like Toledo so that they could put him on the injured list in advance or something, and then move him.
I think that was DeAndres Colon, but that's what he said was they basically put him on Toledo. There was some sort of roster shenanigans there, so they could avoid having the limit.
No, Junior. His son.
Junior, yeah. So the Tigers split a really good Memphis team. The Redbirds have one of the best records in the IL, and Workman did his work before he got called up. And Anderson came back, which was nice to see. Valencia, by the way, Valencia has really good data too against fastballs. He's crushed his fastball pretty well. But of course, we all know what happened with Gabe Alvarez and.
I totally forgot to put that in there, but yes, their manager was fired.
Yeah, that felt like it was 2 weeks ago. The way things had gotten this past. But that's really unfortunate. Obviously, Gabe Alvarez was the rising star, and the Tigers have had a lot of this kind of issue and a lot of bad press and a lot of bad things go on in the old Illich companies along these lines with sexual harassment and other types of harassment claims. So apparently they're pretty much trying to be, or at least trying to look zero tolerance policy now. So, I don't know. It's the Mike Hessman show now, and here we are.
Yeah. And one of the tough things about this is that, Gabe has always been really nice to us. Like we talked to, we used to go into his office and chat with him at Erie. He came up and said hello to us on the backfields in Lakeland. So, it really sucks to talk about this. And when we have more information than is publicly available. And it's just like, you want to be like, no, he's not a creeper, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. The whole thing
probably
sucks.
At very least ill-advised, but far worst thing I've ever heard.
Had to be smarter, but really it's not nothing compared to the other stuff that you've read about the system and the other guys in the organization. So
this is not a Sam Menzen, type.
Not even in the same ballpark or same sport. It's ridiculous, and that's all I'm going to say about it. So at any rate, though, the Buttons continue on, and I even thought that Tyler Gentry would get a call up because how the Tigers do things, so it's just like going, just ridiculous. I thought that they were like, okay, well, he's a fourth outfielder type, and they would call him up. So I'm glad they didn't. They didn't, and they went with the data.
We've talked about this before. Like, I won't get fooled again with Workman, because Workman will have these weeks where he looks like Thor, and then I'll have a week where he goes 2 for 21 with 12 strikeouts. But you know what? Like, the Tigers need somebody, so just call up the hot hand, right? If he's gonna be hot for a little bit, go with it, and maybe you can get a week or 2 weeks of Workman knocking the ball all over the park, and like just one of those fun things that happens in baseball, like a Brendan Bosch situation before it collapses. But he's going to give you more upside than Tyler Gentry.
Yeah, for sure. And in both cases, like, Workman doesn't need to, he's past the point of development where you want him to hit lefties and try to get better at all these different things and play super aggressive and, try to max out as much as possible on every play. He's at a point in his career where he needs to like figure out how to be a role player of some kind anyway. So it's just as well. And that's why, Clark needs to develop. So I haven't heard that many people screaming for Clark. He finally cooled down past couple weeks, and so everyone all of a sudden like backed away entirely, like, oh, this is okay, we don't need Max Clark yet. But Max Clark needs time to develop and do all these things and hit lefties and learn to moderate his game in the outfield and a bunch of things. He started to show a little pull power this week, and that's usually the sign that things are starting to come around for him. So hopefully he'll get that going, because it'd be great if Max was like red hot, and I'd be like, oh yeah, you better call him up, you need some help. But he's just not right now. So
yeah, I mean, and we're just used to this now. We're used to this. The first 2 months of the year, it's Max Clark figuring things out, and it wouldn't shock me at all if he's red hot by July, and call him up. But like, yeah, he's not ready. And the thing is, he's not really ready defensively. Like, people want him to come up and be like this defender, and he still has the tools to be a good defender, but it's not all there. Like, he's gotten pretty good at coming in on the ball, but he still struggles anytime he's got to go near the wall. It's like, he's not one of those guys who's going to make a bunch of like leaping grabs at the wall. It's just not. I don't know why. I know I wouldn't want to go running full speed into the wall, but some of these outfielders do. And he's not one of those guys.
Oh, he's a smart defender, and Clark. I think Clark is going to figure it out. And if you're watching right now, Max,
we have total confidence. Yeah, I hope he has better things to do on a Monday night.
But he's a baseball rep. But here's another thing too: that fan interference call, Chris. Like,
I thought for sure that was actually a grand slam.
That should have been a grand slam.
Yeah, that is a bummer. It's one of those ones you wish they had replay for, but it would have been cool. It was still, a big 2-run double that helped them blow the game open. So, and it was a good at bat. I think he worked it to 3-2, I think, and then drove that. So. I mean, you're seeing signs from Max Clark, but it's
he's not striking out. He's still putting the ball in play a lot and doing that.
Well,
he will make a lot of good plays for you in the outfield. Like, he's thrown out a bunch of guys. There's been a lot of highlight reel like diving plays, even though some of them are because he got a bad jump or whatever. But yeah, like you say, there's still like that one play every week where you're just like, a really good major league center fielder would have made that play. So. Yeah, it's just kind of a mixed bag where he's just still got some things to work on there.
Yeah, and when earlier you mentioned, his batting average against fastballs, it's still coming with like 9% whiff rate. It's still the lowest whiff rate on the team. It's just, he's just not stinging the ball yet, which is, again, just something where it'll come with time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's still advanced for his age, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, you got to remember, one of the youngest players in AAA. We got to keep reminding everybody of that.
Yep, he's not Kevin McGonigal, but he's right behind that pace.
Yeah,
he's not far from that pace.
By the way, there's been a recent comment guy on some of the shows who's been trolling Kevin McGonigal that watch him be back down in AAA by the end of July or by the end of June. And look, McGonigal has struggled. This was expected to happen, and it's okay.
Even his struggles are like 340 OBP.
Yeah.
So 3 stolen bases this week. So yeah,
it's all very relative. Yes, he's still walking more than he's striking out. It's just like he's getting himself out a little bit now, which is it's fine, right?
They seem to have kind of figured out that if they feed him away for strikes and then go up, they can get him to extend the bat and kind of pop out and hit lazy fly balls to left field. So there's there'll be something to adjust to there a little bit.
By the way, when I saw this, I thought it was a typo with Richmond. No, Richmond is holy crap.
Yes,
wow, yeah.
So Erie went 4-2 last week and lost a game in the standings.
The squirrels be flying.
Yeah. There's and you know what? By the way, I do like Charles. I think that Valencia has a good chance to possibly make a late call up too if he continues to do what he's doing. I mean, if he's figuring things out a little bit more, but if he can do what he just his fielding, that's where his biggest drawback is. And that's if he can play first base better.
Yeah.
The saying for people out there, I know what people are going to say after I say that, but So back to Erie. Tony Caputo, tip of the cap to him for getting this team turned around with basically 4 starters out, and he's been able to make do. Miller, I still believe in Joe Miller. I know that every week the hits, the strikeouts are still there. I still think he's going to be. I still think he's useful in some way, shape, or form. And he's getting there. For those the Kenny Suara fan group, he did pitch better.
Mm-hmm. That was a tough one. He was like very good through 3, and then in the 4th inning, it all fell apart. So just one of those things with the knuckleball, I guess.
And then it's just not consistent enough to ever depend on, at the major league level. But he's had some better outings lately.
I like Pacheco's numbers. I know they did 7 for 23, but 5 walks. He wasn't walking earlier in the year. Now he's starting to walk a little bit, so that's a good sign.
I thought Pacheco would be really overwhelmed at AA for most of this season. Like I was prepared for it to be a whole nother kind of spinning the wheels kind of thing, but he's actually been okay. He's been holding his own.
I mean, it's been ugly at times. I think the week before it was pretty nasty. I think he's still hitting well under 200, but I mean, he's a guy that it's going to take some time for him to figure things out, and you hope that he can. Hopefully, this is the start of it. Callahan and Peck keep putting up numbers. The Callahan in particular, like I'm looking, so he's got 6 homers and 13 steals, along to go with 6 doubles and a triple. We had 15 walks and 30 strikeouts. So it's all there for him, really. Peck has 6 homers and 11 steals with 10 doubles.
Pecks.
The problem with Peck, though, is it's 3 walks and 32 strikeouts. But
although it has been better the last couple of weeks. Those first 2 weeks were rough.
He had a couple really rough weeks on the road, too. But I mean, these are 2 guys who are these are legitimate prospects who knows? I mean, we may see them in Toledo later in the year. So, nice developments there for sure. Yeah,
creeping up quite a bit, and kind of when you look at what, again, when we look at Anderson and Lee and those guys, it makes it easier to move on because you've got Peck and Callahan coming who aren't really dissimilar, in quality. They're not quite as advanced a hitter, maybe in either case, but they're more defensively useful. They're just more well-rounded, talented players that kind of help you, in more of a role situation. Whereas with Lee and Anderson, it's like if this guy hits a ton and really breaks out with the bat, you might have a full-time player. But if they don't, they're not really useful in any respect. They're just a little bit more all or nothing in that regard. So, so that's good. And Andrew Jenkins has been stinging the ball too. I don't know what to think about that exactly because I've honestly not paid him enough attention. Clearly. Yeah,
I mean he's primarily a first baseman, and so it's it's nice to have those guys who can produce runs and stuff. It's like a Jake Holton, right? Like these are good bats to have, but unless you've got 40 home run power, it's tough to be a first baseman.
Yeah, a hard game.
And, I mean, Peyton Graham had another really good week. Like he's hit his first 2 home runs, both in the same game. It's like everything's there, but for the power for him right now. So
maybe Peyton Graham should play more center field.
Yeah. Why not?
I know. I'm just I put everybody out there now. This is how AJ Hinch and Scott Harris love to run the team anyway. So you might as well see. Anybody who can run, I'm putting you in center field to deal with it.
And the stolen base numbers are ridiculous. Erie's taking advantage of this rule where it's only 1 disengagement now.
Yeah, they're running wild.
Stevenson is 21 for 21 on steals. Graham is 19 for 19. I'm looking. Let's see. Callahan is 13 for 15, and he got caught stealing this weekend. It probably would not have. If you look at it, the defender knocked his hand off the bag. Yeah. So he should have been safe. But so it's if you like speed and the occasional home run, Erie's the team to watch.
Yep.
Yeah, Jake, with a good question. Have to add Peck and Callahan to the 40-man after the season. Will they do it? Yeah, of course.
I think absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, well, no doubt. I mean, look, Pat Callahan has been performing a lot better in the first half of the season in AA. He's adjusting better. This is his first full season, and he's been able to adapt pretty well. And that WRC plus is climbing. You love to see him if he can continue this into June or July, past in July into the All-Star break. That would be fantastic, and that'd be a great thing for the Tigers because outfield-wise development, they need another hit. They need some more depth, and we're doing a re-rankings right now by the end of the month. And I know Callahan's going to climb up a lot of boards, but he also gives an opportunity for them to – he's healthy. And I think that's the most important thing. I think it's the first time he's been healthy and maintaining that. So,
a couple rough injuries in the last 2 years.
Yeah. And, I mean, we talk about this a lot, but there's the utility. Like if you could play any position to an above average degree other than first base, that helps you a lot. You don't have to be an absolutely great hitter or anything like that. And Callahan can play center field. Callahan's better in right field. He's got a big arm. He's fast. All those traits, So I mean, there's a lot of reasons to like Brett Callahan and John Peck, both for those reasons, over some of the guys who are more like 45s future value above them. Although the two of them might end up moving into that type of category if they can keep it going for another month or two.
Yeah, I would expect Callahan to move up to Toledo if and when Clark moves up to Detroit. That would seem to be the move that would make sense, but we'll see.
Yep. And Peck, they could try him right now because they don't have a shortstop.
Yeah.
But they don't want to, and I can understand that. But he did, he was in spring camp, he's seen some things now. So, if they decided they wanted to do that in another month or so, that wouldn't be too shocking either. It's hard to know because Trey Cruz, would Trey Cruz be up right now if he was healthy? You'd have to think he'd be playing some shortstop and center field, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he got hurt at the exact wrong time. He
Especially
definitely would
when
have
your depth guys are getting hurt too.
Yeah, and he's a switch hitter. He can play everywhere. He would have been very helpful. So that's unfortunate. But hey, Charles, any chance West Michigan loses as many games as they won last year? I need to put a space in there. There's always a chance, I guess. I don't think they're going to lose 93 games, but I didn't think they were going to lose 14 in a row. This is coming. This is coming directly off. They swept Lansing in Lansing. We're like, hey, they're maybe not too bad, and it just they can't put together a full game, and it's been everything. It's been bullpen. It's been errors at the wrong time. It's like there was a game where they were up by 3 or whatever in the ninth, and they committed 3 errors in the inning, including a ball getting behind the outfielder that led 3-run score. And it was like, oh my God. So it's just one of those things when you lose 14 in a row, a lot of things have to go wrong.
Yeah. And it's, it's just odd too, because it comes when they got, Ben Jacobs and Rayner had a good week, and Ben Jacobs is pitching well, and they got some support, and they've got more coming, there's a lot of veteran guy. Well, we talked about this earlier. There's a lot of guys who were signed out of indie ball, and there's a lot of guys who are just kind of there as filler, to a degree, and they're struggling to get it done.
Yeah, and it's a little bit it's a little bit retribution for last year when they rolled over the league that they have to suffer through this. But yeah,
some other teams probably are coming in there like, all right, it's those freaking Whitecaps. I mean, there's still carryover guys who are still at this level who remember. So
well, yeah, I mean, I spent Dayton was in there this week, and I remember specifically their series in Dayton last year where they went in there and it was like 18 runs a game. Jose Briseño hit a 3-run homer and then a grand slam to go ahead in the ninth, and just demolished them. That was where the Dayton announcer was like, these guys are nuts. Like he said, for years and years, they had these SEC and ACC players who could not play. It was like, what a good quote.
We miss those guys. Yeah. Now they got their boot on our neck.
But I think, there's still reason for us to watch this because Rayner's there, and he does appear to have made some adjustments. I think Emily put up some video, side-by-side video that shows some minor adjustments to his hand placement, and I think but you
better posture too. He's like he kind of must have recognized that being all hunched over like that, it's very hard to get to the pull side without just spinning. And so they've got him a little more upright, and his hands were a little higher yesterday. Still pretty busy back there. There's things to work on, but for everybody who is kind of freaking out about his swing and everything, he
calm down.
He seems to have made some minor adjustments pretty well. I just want to keep pounding the table that the dude missed a year with a major shoulder surgery. It's not he's not like a veteran 28-year-old star player who just comes back and is good as new when it kicks in. So.
Yeah,
just give the man some time. That's all I'm saying.
Even when those guys do come back, it's not always right away. Like we've often mentioned, like Ronald Acuna missing a year and coming back and struggling for a little bit. But just watching. What's that?
Charles, to say Charles, thanks for the $10.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Charles.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear the drop. Did you put it in there?
Oh, yeah, hold on. I'll play it again.
Sorry. I thought you were. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I heard it in the background. No, just his plate appearances. He did strike out 3 times in the first game of the week, but other than that, his plate appearances, they were generally epic. He had a 10-pitch at bat earlier in the week that he worked a walk on. Like he's getting really good at fouling off pitches. Like he wasn't necessarily stinging the ball, but it's sort of like, if you're going to walk a ton and hit the ball 112 miles an hour when you do hit it, that'll work for now. And you can see like his WRC plus is already up to 99. It was and part of that is like a 20% walk rate, and he still has like a 40% strikeout rate. But I do think that's going to come down. And yeah, I think, I don't know, we'll stack up week after week, right? Like last week was okay, this week was better. Just keep doing that for a while, and then down the road we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of let him work, and let's not freak out about the results, and just kind of let him eat. If he got to Erie this year, that would be really advanced progress. And I don't really expect that. I expect him to kind of work, and maybe get a look at the end. But he kind of just needs to build up a lot of reps. That's all.
Yeah. And as far as, by the way, Charles, once West Michigan gets a little healthy, I think he'll be better. I mean, I think West Michigan will be better. It's just the baseball gods are not on their side at the moment when they need them the most, as Colin said very eloquently in the chat. Absolutely, but I think West Michigan's better than what they have, so we'll see what happens.
And they're going to get some help.
Yeah,
we'll talk about some of the help coming soon, I think. But yeah, Jacobs had another really good outing, just 4 innings this time, but 7 strikeouts again. He's just striking out 7 guys an outing, no matter what. Still looks good. He's on track to get up to Erie still.
Yep. My boys, Gabriel Reyes has finally had a decent outing, but it's been rough for him and Rainer Castillo both so far again. Yeah,
Reyes seemed to find his strikeout pitches. Like he struck out 3 or 4 in a row at one point. It was like, oh, okay, he seems to have figured it out. So we'll see. I think I was complaining about them a while back, and Raj was like, didn't Montero spend forever in West Michigan? I was like, you're right. Like,
that's true.
It's not necessarily. We don't necessarily have to write these guys off yet. It's going to take some time, and you believe in the stuff. Although, and that's part of the problem with Castillo is the stuff kind of went away, unfortunately. But
and my boy Carlos Marcano got more gas on the sinker, but hasn't really come up with a breaking ball that's really really working. So
I'm not even sure if he pitched last week. I didn't.
Kind of seemed like maybe he got minorly hurt or was dealing with something. Because I don't think I saw him either since last weekend. Maybe
I was just gonna. The reason why I said that too, Brandon, about those, I made those references is that I think that for whatever reason, the international pitchers take a little while at West Michigan, than they do anywhere else. I don't. It could be a language thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that factor into it.
My guy, the first time I went out to West Michigan and met the Dutch, it was overwhelming experience.
Well, it's living off I lived right down the street.
I loved it over there.
Yeah, I lived off Alpine. I lived right around the block from Comstock Park, where the Whitecaps play, and it is an adjustment for somebody if you're coming from this side of the state. But no, but it is like I think about it this way. When Kyle Montero told me that essentially that they didn't get a language program until year 2 or 3 into his, for player profiles, it could be the case here. They're still adjusting to that. And it's like, wow. Like I say wow in the sense that it took the Tigers, that long to get stuff translated.
Yeah. I mean, I assume they're doing better with this, and there's more support for that at Lakeland before they go up to West Michigan, and obviously Rivera is the manager now, which probably helps them somewhat. But yeah, it's still a big transition.
Yeah, and what's going to be a big transition, or speaking of big transitions, Spoon. 10, just in terms of translating from being. I don't know about him to going, okay, he's back on the prospect radar. Yeah, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, walk, and 10 strikeouts. Go ahead, Chris.
No, we finally saw it. We finally saw, okay, this is fully weaponized Malachi Weatherspoon.
Yep.
He didn't have double-digit whiffs in any of his previous outings. He goes out and gets 22. Yeah. They were just missing everything. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, this will work. So, if he does that 1 or 2 more times, then he's probably going up to West Michigan himself. So, very, very impressive to see. And that's the sort of power arm that we've been pining for. So it was nice to see him
And I don't know if he has. I'm still not real sure myself. Maybe you guys know for sure, but whether or not he's got a cutter and a slider, it seems to me like he just kind of varies them. Whether he's trying to get whiffs or throw strikes, but he was shaping it like a couple different ways with command for quite a while during that outing. It was pretty impressive. His fastball wasn't exactly precise, but he was jamming guys inside, and I mean, those guys were absolutely overwhelmed. And we knew like all he has to do, I mean, is locate, and he's got the stuff. And man, we saw it. We saw it for sure that time.
Yeah, man, I've always treated him as having two different breaking balls. I was like a cutter and a slider, or a slider and a curve, however you want to describe it. But yeah, he mixes them and matches them. I still haven't. He talked about his changeup. I still haven't seen it. I think I saw one that outing.
Yeah, he had a couple. He threw a couple, I think, but they were just like 90-mile-per-hour sinkers. Yeah. Didn't really do a whole lot.
But like very nice development there, and we had some fun games last week. Jude Warwick had a monster game. Like had gone through without any home runs, and he's like, hey, what if I hit two of them in one game and a double?
Yeah.
So that was fun to see.
One was 108 miles an hour all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, like
any little guy.
I don't think he has hit the ball much harder than like 103, and suddenly it was like, I don't know. That was fun, and Ankeny hit a couple home runs. Rucker had a nice week. So
Johnny Pat describing the under the waterfront.
The Tigers. Johnny Pat here.
On the waterfront.
Tigers match are going to be a meme of two unemployed dock workers, half in a suitcase, trying to punch each other. And that's going to be that's fitting. It's in New York. Alan, is there any word on the Whiska injury? I don't think we've seen anything, have we? I don't think I've seen anything.
No, we rarely, unless somebody like goes out of their way to tell us that something happened. Tigers don't inform anybody.
Yeah, you don't hear anything unless someone has surgery, and sometimes not even then. So
yeah, I'm holding out hope. It was the 7-day IL. He didn't appear to be like it was clear that something felt wrong, but I don't know what it was. He didn't indicate what it was, so. I don't know.
It was the same thing with that was the same thing with Salcedo too. Didn't he leave the game really weird?
So I didn't put that in. Yeah, that was very odd. And I think from what I can gather is that like he was not on the roster or something like that. Like something strange happened because he came out, he warmed up, he came out, he was getting ready to pitch, and the umps were looking at something and went up and talked to him, and he was like all upset and he didn't want to leave. And then he had to, and he like threw the ball to the ump and went to the dugout. That was it. So they didn't have him pitch later in the week, I assume, because he had got all warmed up to this one, and they didn't want to have him do that twice. So they're just skipping a start, I guess. But there
wasn't a really explanation for that. It was strange.
Yeah, I didn't listen. I don't know. Maybe Aaron, said what happened before, like the pregame, the next game, but I didn't listen. So. But yeah, just really an unusual situation because obviously we like his arm quite a bit.
Yep, might be the best. Right now you can kind of triangulate between Ben Jacobs, Malachi, and Kelvis, and that's kind of the trinity right now of the three best ones.
To Brandon's point, Ham is still on the 7-day IL. That's a groundhog IL if I've ever seen one pitch yet since last August. Yeah, he pitched in the backfields last week, and then I haven't seen anything since. But
yeah, I mean. With him and Jake Miller, I think we're dealing with multiple injuries. That there was one injury and then there's another and another.
Yeah, but it is kind of like 7 days from any time. We'll just keep him there forever.
The one word to describe this week, by the way, is yuck for the FCL Tigers as they're still winless.
Yeah,
it's tough.
And not terribly competitive in most games. I think they lost 8-1 today.
Ooh. Yeah,
at one point I think they were 0-5 and had scored 9 runs, and that was when I looked it up. There was a kid on Tampa who had 10 RBIs that day. Like,
Lord.
We did get to see Owen Hall pitch a little bit. Unfortunately, like the Phillies feed was all like there's tons of artifacting going on, so I don't know if the first inning is going to be any good. But he had it looked like his breaking balls were working pretty well, and the fastball was like 92, 94. So I may put it up anyway, just because. But yeah, other than that, and Koba.
All that matters is he and Koba are pitching, like just enough that they're pitching for me right now.
And Koba, like he had a lot of traffic on the bases, wasn't missing a ton of bats. So, but it's his first game in the United States. So, and he got into the 4th inning, which is more than most of these guys could say. Joey Wimpelberg made his pro debut and then threw 1 inning. Jack Bushel, it was nice to have him back, the Australian.
Yeah.
He was the Australian before Allie Tanner was the Australian, and then he blew his arm out like 4 games into 2024. So it's been almost 2 years, but good to see him back on the mound.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of excitement though. Like Chris Rodriguez didn't do a whole lot. Had like 1 good game, and otherwise was struggling. And Ronald Ramirez was kind of interesting. Like did some things, but nothing crazy going on this week.
Yeah, the Ronald Ramirez is the one that like I'm curious if he can keep this up, because if he does, now he's a guy that was in the FCL last year too, and he hit like 340 in his DSL debut a couple of years ago. So like, well, this is interesting. He came stateside. It was like 240 last year with no power. He looks a little bit bigger. So if we can hit a little bit and he's walking more than he's striking out, like he's one of those guys we could see in Lakeland later in the year. So there's that. But again, it's only been like a week plus, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and obviously De Los Santos didn't do a whole lot. Those are kind of like the key guys, Madero. But just kind of have to wait and see who overcomes and gets ready to, and makes their way to Lakeland sometime this year. Hopefully someone pitches well or hits well and breaks out.
Yeah, I need a little bit of I need another guy to kind of step up a little bit. But all in due time. But the I can't believe we're already in mid-May with this already. But I would love to see another international arm make a debut too at some point in the next hopefully come out of camp and do something. But yeah, still no word on. I triple checked a couple other things with like Tiger injury front, and even asking Terry, and she hasn't seen anybody through the backfield, so it's a little discouraging. But we'll see.
Yeah, you'd like to think like Swanson or might make it back, or Wet Whisko is something minor and he's not out too long. But it's just Tigers have a pretty good black box for all that.
Yeah, we never really know until we see like, oh, this person's been added to the roster today. Like, okay, they're going to pitch today then. But
and then I feel like a dork because I'm all like, oh my God, he's back, and I'm all excited. It's like because we've never had any, it's such a shock because you have no way to like anticipate when anyone might emerge from the dark tunnels of the Detroit Tigers rehab facilities. And that was a topic, I got asked about a lot this week, and we were talking about it today too. Like what is going on with the injuries? Is there something wrong, in the way? And there's just no real way to know. All we can say, I mean, I've thought about doing this is like going back and reconstructing like every, front office decision that was supposed to help the medical staff, like, okay, we're going to build the biomechanics department. We're going to upgrade all of our strength and conditioning facilities. We've got nutritionists, we've got dietitians, got new facilities. We've got force plates and all kinds of cool stuff for training guys. They've spent all this money. They might have spent like 40 or $50 million the past, 5 years and trying to build up their ability to keep their players healthy. And man, it ain't working. Not working at all. Yeah. It's worse than it was before.
Well, somebody mentioned too that the Cubs had like 4. What was it? Jesse from Lansing was saying that the Cubs had like 40 guys on the like something ridiculous.
Really? Is this a Jed Hoyer lineage thing? From Theo to Jed to Scott Harris and all these guys, they just can't keep anyone healthy. I don't know. It's a curse.
The tradition continues.
Yep, a tradition unlike any other.
Yeah. Somebody, by the way, there's a Wimpleberg jersey request. So,
nice.
Yeah.
But,
that's a pretty great name. I mean, Wimpleberg.
They had some good names. Cash Kuiper had a really nice outing. First like really good start where he was really with his the cutter or whatever, and changeup was really getting a lot of whiffs too. So that was nice to see.
Yeah. Changeup was pretty good. Christensen had a pretty good night as well.
Yeah.
So,
It's been interesting with him. His velocity has not been up to what it was in his first outing since then, but he's still finding ways to get swings and misses with the slider and the changeup. So maybe if I've seen it once, we could see it again. Give me that 93 to 95.
Yep. That angle. Yeah, we'd like to see that for sure.
So to end the podcast, I did want to take a moment to give a tip of the cap, moment of silence, whatever you want to call it, to Pat Caputo, who passed away of pancreatic cancer. And the history of this podcast, we always never agreed, sometimes agreed with Pat Caputo. And he's a guy who stuck to his opinions, but he was a very, very, he knew baseball. He knows every sport out there. And but you got to give it out to him. He did a really good job of engaging with the audience, and I mean, he hosted he was one of the first prospect writers I can remember talking prospects openly, and so it sucks. Cancer sucks. Fuck cancer.
Fuck cancer.
The fuck cancer. Period. And I just
he's only 60. Yeah, he's only 67.
Yeah,
like announced this back in January, and that's it. But I mean, the man had the patience of a saint. Like if you've ever like driven late night across Michigan listening to the ticket and like him taking calls at like 11 and the stuff he would have to explain and work through for people. And he was just always like really gracious and, and patient with people. Knew a ton, was really the first of the local guys. Cause like, the beat writers, when we started doing this in 2014, 15, 16, like nobody on the radio knew the first thing about sabermetrics. Like they didn't have the first clue. And Pat was like the one guy who like actually took it upon himself to like catch up and educate himself. And I always thought that was, pretty impressive of him. And, we've always teased him, but that's just because he goes, okay. And I just have that in my head like forever. But always a very, very likable listen and super knowledgeable guy. And yeah, it just sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah,
very sad. There were some nice. His family shared some nice stories that he got. I think he basically got to write it himself, to like his memories, and that was nice to read. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other sports writers who interacted with him made nice tributes. So we talked about Chris McCoskey talking about how they argued like fought on the softball field and stuff like that. We're like, all right, I can see that. Yes. So
I guess that was kind of that old school, like pugnacious, like, sports writer type that doesn't really exist anymore. Like, he was absolutely scrappy, like didn't know how to type and just wanted to like cover sports. And they were like, all right, we'll cover whatever volleyball in, the middle of nowhere. And he'd be like, all right, well, I'll go out there and cover that game and come out, and just took like any and all assignments and kind of taught himself how to do it. So that's the kind of thing you don't really have the opportunity to do much anymore. And that's unfortunate because everyone now has to be degreed up the wazoo just to like get a look, at a lot of jobs. But yeah, he did it the old fashioned way and did it pretty well. So more credit to him.
Yeah, especially when he was talking. There was a story about him when he first started. Like that's how he. If I had my apartment and my, get to do this every day, it was fine by him. And
that's enough. Yeah.
So that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Hope his family, is doing all right.
Yeah, saw the Pistons do a nice tribute to him. Although the Pistons are down by 19 right now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
My brother has been texting me that how infuriating the Pistons could be, and he says Jalen Duren should be benched for the rest of the series. I'm like, okay. Things are going well.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I was like, I'm not checking it while we do this. So.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Thanks for anybody watching us instead of that.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. And like I said, we'll be back. The Tigers in town this week against Toronto, so hopefully I will be. Yeah, because I'll be out there Friday and Saturday, and like to see you out there and shoot the breeze. And Brandon, what do you got going on over at Bless You Boys?
Yeah, I got the Workman article up. I'm working something on Ty Madden at the moment too, just to kind of like talk about his endless journey to finally get here, and like showing some flashes of potential. And that's about it. We got. Be interesting to see the Mets because they've been such a debacle this year, and they've kind of played better lately. And we're going to see Nolan McLean and Freddie Peralta, so that's not going to be easy. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's always interesting to play them either way, so should be a fun sit.
Yeah, hopefully the Tigers can come away with a series victory. It's just it would be a nice way to at least take 2 out of 3 and. Yeah, be 300 or at least 300 or 500 in the series.
Yeah, if they could just win a couple series in the next 2 weeks and not get swept anywhere, that'd be a huge win. They'd still be in position because we all know you just have to get in, late in the season. If we happen to have Framber and Skubal both healthy and in the rotation, and you've got like Melton, Job, maybe Vesta's back, Kenley. Yeah, you take your shot. Maybe Max Clark is up by then doing things. They could be good by the end of the year, but man, you got to get in. So hold the line, y'all.
Stay close, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night.